tell them all this stuff, and they're going, we know, we understand. You know, you got to come
quickly. Howard, come out here. Howard, come quickly. Come with us. Howard, we've been waiting for you. Waiting.
I left the room, which was real, clear, bright, and went into the hallway, which was dank and hazy, and followed these people. We had a very long journey. There's no time, and whenever I make a reference to time, it's just an illusion, because there was no time in this place. But this journey, if I were to recreate it, I'd have to walk like from Nashville to Louisville or something to recreate the walk with these people. And as we walked, they stayed around me and kept moving me on, and it kept getting darker and darker. They were becoming more and more openly hostile to me. First they were sort of syrupy sweet to get me to go with them, and then when I was going along with them, it was like, hurry up, keep moving, you know, shut up, stop asking questions. You know, they started getting more ugly. And so we get into complete darkness, and I'm absolutely terrified. These people are very hostile. I don't know where I am. I said, I'm not going to go with you any further. They said, you're almost there. And we started to fight. I was trying to get away from them. They were pushing and pulling at me. And there are now a lot of them. What originally had been like a handful now was, since it was darkness, hundreds or thousands. I have no idea. And they're playing with me. You know, clearly they could have just destroyed me if they wanted to. They didn't want to destroy me. What they wanted to do was they wanted to inflict pain on me, because they derived, pleasure isn't the right word, but they derived satisfaction out of the pain that I experienced. So what they were doing in the beginning part was, it's real hard for me to talk about, and I'm not going to tell you much about it, just a little bit, because it gets, it just gets too ugly. But initially they were like tearing and biting, tearing with their fingernails, scratching, gouging, ripping, and then biting. Trying to defend myself, trying to fight them off, trying to get away from them, but it's like being in a beehive. There's just hundreds of them all over me. And I eventually was just laying on the ground there, all ripped up, pain everywhere, inside, outside, and even harder to bear than the physical pain was the emotional pain of what had just happened to me. The utter degradation that I just experienced. You know, I never once felt that it was unjust or wrong. I heard my voice. It wasn't somebody else's voice. It wasn't the voice of God or anything. It was my voice. And I heard it speak, but I didn't speak it. So whether it's the voice of my conscience or I don't know what it was. It was just, but I distinctly heard my voice say, pray to God. And so I thought to myself, I don't believe in God. Pray to God. And I'm thinking, even if I could pray, I don't know how to pray anymore. I haven't prayed. And at that time, I probably hadn't prayed in 22, 23 years. So. And so I'm thinking, like, when I was a child, and we said prayers in Sunday school, and we said prayers in church, and what did we say? And I'm trying to think of it, because to me, to pray was to recite something that I'd learned. That's what I thought a prayer was then. So let's say, the Lord is my shepherd. Give us this day our daily bread. My country, 'tis of thee. No, that's not a prayer. That's wrong. Let's see. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, fourscore and 7 years ago, our forefathers. You know, I'm getting all of them mixed up. I can't remember how to pray. And then the people who were around me, every time I'd like mention God, these people who had attacked me and beaten me, every time I mentioned God, it was as if mentioning God was throwing boiling water on them. They would shriek, they would scream, they would yell, and in worse profanity than anything I've ever heard in this world. The other thing that was happening was that they couldn't bear to be around me talking about God. It was so painful for them to hear about God that they kept backing away. And so I had a sense that I could push them away by talking about God. And so I'm trying to remember prayers, and I'm getting all confused and mixed up, and it was just all crazy. And I'm lying there, and eventually I realized that they're gone, and I'm alone. Now, I was alone there for an eternity. And what I mean by that was absolutely no sense of time. But I thought about my life, thought about what I'd done and what I hadn't done. I thought about the situation I was in. And the conclusion that I came to is that I had lived my adult life. I had lived a selfish life. My only God in my adult life was myself. I realized that I was something terribly, terribly wrong with my life, and that the people that attacked me were the same kind of people that I was. They were not monsters, they weren't demons. They were people who had missed it. The point of being born and being alive in this world. They'd missed it, and they'd lived lives of selfishness and cruelty. And now we're in a world where there was nothing else. There was nothing but selfishness and cruelty, and they were doomed to inflict that upon each other and upon themselves, probably forever and ever and ever and ever, without end. And now I was a part of it. And it seemed like, although I didn't want to be there, it seemed like probably the right place for me to be. There was a sense of like, this is what I deserve, because this is what I lived. You can't imagine how emotionally painful that was. And I'm lying there for time without end, thinking about my fate. And in the back of my mind comes up an image of myself as a child, sitting in a Sunday school classroom, singing Jesus Loves Me. I could hear in my mind, Jesus loves me, la la la, Jesus loves me, la la. And as I recalled myself singing it and I could hear myself as a child singing it. More important